Welcome to Roslyn the Pet Psychic's podcast, the show where animal intuition meets untold stories. I'm Roslyn, your host and resident pet psychic. Each week, we dive into the unbelievable, the heartwarming, and sometimes the downright haunting tales from the animal world, told by the people who live them, whether it's a horse who knew too much and spilled the tea, a trainer who crossed the line, or a pet with a message from beyond. We're here to explore the deeper truths behind the stories that leave us wondering, what do our animals know that we don't? This program may include real names, places, and events when shared with consent, as well as stories that have been anonymized or fictionalized to protect the identity and safety of individuals. The content of this podcast is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. Views expressed by the host and guest are personal opinions and conjecture and should not be interpreted as fact or as professional advice. With some episodes may include educational insights or expert commentary, listeners are encouraged to use their own judgment and consult appropriate professionals when needed. Got a wild horse, dog, or cat story of what not to do? Breeding gone wrong? Buyer beware? A riding mishap with a lesson? I want to hear it. If you're in the holistic or horse world and want to share your story or even promote your biz, head to roslynthepetpsychic.com and text or email me. You might be featured on the podcast. Hello and welcome. I'm Roslyn the Pet Psychic, and I'm here to introduce you to my new podcast, tell you a little bit about myself, where all this started, how this all came about, and I don't know, see if you want a pet psychic reading and want to sign up for one, or if you want to have a story to tell from where you maybe had an interaction with a horse and it was like, what happened here? Or just something, anything that you want to like bring light to with the pets. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I started my journey when I was younger. I played in the woods all the time. I grew up on this huge agricultural farm that it was all fields of cotton and soybeans and all that kind of stuff. But we had woods, we had pecan orchards that were so beautiful. But in the pecan orchards were these hidden gems where my mom's old barn was in there and my dad's cars and my uncle's cars. It was just this playground that I should not have been in, but that is where I played the whole time. And my grandfather had this old rabbit house there, and I just used to play in all of this stuff. And it was so neat because a lot of it was like locked up and I had to sneak in, and I never felt alone. And that's where this whole journey started. I feel like my grandfather was always there with me as a little kid, and that is how the whole pet psychic or mediumship started, is when I was a kid going places and doing things and just could find anything. My mom would always be asking, well, I can't find this or I can't find that. And I would always find things for her in the house, in the grocery store. And it was how I practiced my tools and my gifts. As I got older, things got weirder. And I was really bullied in school and I did not know what to do. And I tried to act like all the other kids and it never worked. And I couldn't fit in. And I'm a redhead. And in school, I was always picked on about like my size and my hair. And it was just awkward. And the teachers were different. I can always tell when the teachers were like not telling the truth or misusing information to sway us. And that would get me in so much trouble. I was definitely the kid that had a sassy mouth and would talk back. That's just because they were full of crap half the time. So that was another part of my life. I then, really pushed the gift down, tried to be like normal people, could not embrace my weirdness, and life just got even more interesting. I had a horse when I was 13. Absolutely love this horse. She made me feel so special. She was unconditionally, amazingly loved me, would give me hugs, and I was just so grateful for her. I also had a mastiff when I was little. His name was Richard, and he loved me the same way, and I loved him. I would play with him and rub him and brush him, and I had no idea how to do tricks or anything, but we would just hang out all the time. He probably was my partner in crime in the woods. I know I'm going back and forth, but I'm a woman. That's what I do. Those two animals ended up being my dog, Buddha. I say that because they reincarnated. So I've had the same soul spirit reincarnate in 3 different animals, and I'm only 44 at this point. So I know that this animal, this spirit is going to come back to me again, but I've literally said no because I didn't have Buddha but not even 3 years. He didn't make it to his 3rd birthday. He was sick. My psychic abilities with him were super strong, and I was not grounded and did not know and understand what to do. And I've had so many different psychics talk about, your energy affects the animal. And in a way, yes, it does. I don't ever want my clients to feel like their energy is affecting their animal when they don't know how to do anything with their energy and their animal doesn't either. Like, that doesn't really make sense. So I definitely work with clients to give them practical advices to how to train or food oriented or heal with their animals in a whole different way, instead of the whole, you have to change who you are, even though you have no idea what energy is or how it works to even change that. That's something that I've come across quite a few times. So, I saw Buddha whenever it was time to put him down. We didn't know it was time to put him down. We were at, I don't know, our 8th vet or 16th vet, who knows. We were at a specialist. We were at a neurologist at this point. And because he had neurological issues and seizures and things like that we did not even understand what was going on. And we could not afford to have the MRI done just to see what was going on. I mean, it was crazy. And here's the other thing. You're going to pay like $3,000 or more for an MRI, and then they even tell you they don't know what to do. They're going to put you on the same medicines. I mean, it was just here, let's just like give you your whole life savings because we want to save our animal, but you don't really actually have a way to help us save the animal. That's how I came out of a lot of that. So Buddha, I let him go. Like we couldn't. He actually had a seizure and aspirated, so we couldn't keep him any longer. And me and my husband, we let him go and love him. And I'm so glad I was able to do that because that was peace for him, me. And eventually my husband got peace because he just was not miserable anymore because he was bad. It was bad. It was a bull mastiff that couldn't walk. He couldn't put his feet down. He couldn't figure things out. It was not fun. And he wasn't even 3. And he was like my heart dog, my everything. And, I saw him leave. Like, I saw him leave his body before his body left. I saw things and knew things and understood things with him, but I could not. It was all pieces. It was pieces of a puzzle. And I ended up coming across the medical medium and fell in love with the healing that I've learned from that man and his spirit of compassion. And if you are interested in healing and you have your own problems, you should definitely check him out. I also use everything that he talks about and relate it to dogs and cats and horses. And that is because I've actually had results. I've had them change. I've had them survive and thrive in a way that I never have from vets. Do I go to the vets? Yes, 100%. I'm not putting my vets down, not one bit. But I have a select group of vets that are holistic, and I have a select group of vets that are not holistic, that can do like my blood works and my test. I love feeding Honest Kitchen. That's my favorite food because it's GMO free. I also will feed them like crock pot meals, and I make them smoothies all the time because they love their popsicles, and that's how they get their smoothies in. And I have just done so many different things to help them live and survive. And it has all been to make me a better pet psychic and a better human being, and to help everybody around me and in my life and with my clients. That is why I do what I do. I have also the grieving process of losing an animal is way different than a human. My dad passed away a little over a year ago, and that is another road of grieving that's different, and it's hard to navigate when it's your parent. But I will tell you, when it's your dog or your cat or your horse and they're your everything and they're your unconditional and they go, it's a grieving that's like no other. A lot of it's great because, and you're going to be like, what are you talking about? It's great. It's great because you don't care what other people think. You release things whenever you're grieving, because something that meant so much to you really shines light on what doesn't mean a whole bunch to you. And I'm not saying go and like burn some bridges and this and that, but you definitely have the right for as long as you need to say like, I can't deal with that. I'm grieving. And you're just say, I can't deal with that right now because and they ain't got to know you're grieving because I will tell you when you get past like the 2-month mark, people are like, you should be over that by now. And I'm like, over it. This thing loved me more than you. Can't you tell this right now? I'm not over this. My animal wouldn't have talked to me that way or made me feel that way. So no, I don't have to be over it, but I also don't have to explain it to them, right? So that's grieving can be hard and it's how do you get through it and it's different layers of it. And then how do you get your animal to reincarnate and all of those processes. And I've gone through so much of that I actually can help my clients go through it, which is why this all happens. That's how you become a pet psychic and what happens in the navigational process. And, here I am, like, 2020 flipped my whole entire Clear Day Spa business upside down and I started working at the horse shows. And that is when I came public. That is when I actually decided that I live in the South and this is against every bit of religion down here. And I am a Christian and I am religious and I am spiritual, but I don't judge or try really hard not to judge anybody because, down here, it's like if you're a pet psychic, you might as well tell somebody you're gay, it's just, you shouldn't be that way. And I'm like, but I am this way. God made me this way. I have this conversation with God all the time because I'm very like everything I've ever learned comes from God and Jesus. So if you work with me, you have to know that's where I'm at. And I'm not saying that you have to believe in God and Jesus. That's just how I work. And I don't want to put my beliefs on you and I don't want to change your beliefs by any means. I just want to give you the tools and tricks and trades of what to do, how to do, and how to get out of these moments or how to make this better for your horse, your dog, or your cat. Yeah, I went to the horse shows, like back to that. I went to the horse shows 2020 because my spa was shut down and I could work half the week at the spa and half the week at a horse show because I had a horse show facility near me. And that's what I did. I worked the horse shows and I absolutely loved it. And I then got full-fledged on anxiety and could not understand why the horses felt different and things felt different. And I heard different things than what the people were telling me, than their riders and the trainers. And that's when I realized this anxiety that I cannot get rid of because I'm beamering these horses and Beamer helps me calm down, beamering these horses. And yet I'm more anxious. And I have a friend that's an animal communicator and we worked together and I fine-tuned my mediumship from what I'm very used to with people and fine-tuned it into animals and just got more confidence to do it and kept playing, kept trying, kept practicing, and I kept doing that. And then not too long after that, when I was like, oh, I really can't do this, then I went public with it. And that's how I became Roslyn the Pet Psychic. And I adventurously, bravely got on TikTok. And I absolutely love that platform and platforms similar to it. And that's how I've grown this huge community. I try to post on other social media. So if you don't see me on there as much, it's because I'm all consumed with doing all of this myself and working this business. And I still have my day spa opened. So yeah, that is my life. That's how I got here. This is how I keep practicing and keep doing this and loving this and figuring out more things and having more experiences so I can help educate y'all on how you can help your animals. And I just love it. I absolutely do because our animals mean so much to us. We need someone to help us like rock and roll through this. And if this saves us some money on some vet bills and this saves us from like figuring things out, then let's do it. Let's figure this out because I promise you, I'm not a vet and I'm not going to give you vet advice, but I'm definitely cheaper than one. So if we can narrow this down to save you some money and help you actually enjoy your animals more and feel and find and see their healing, then let's do it. Listen, thank you so much for listening to me for this short amount of time about my life and my journey. If you have any questions, I'm typically an open book. I will let you know anything. If you are interested in being a pet psychic yourself and you're wondering how to do this, I will go ahead and tell you your animals are the hardest ones to read. That's not where I would start. I have a couple of teachers I can send you to that I think are great because I am not teaching at this moment, but I always say ask them yes and no questions. Make it very easy for yourself. The first answer you get is most 100% the right answer. And don't second guess yourself, and play with finding things, play with how, I want you to go get the red ball, or I want you to do this, and think about that mentally, and don't say anything to your animals, and see what happens. They see in pictures. They see. So if I used to send Buddha, I would say, go get your literally go get your red ball. And he would go and get it and bring it back to me. And I wouldn't say a word. I would just mentally show him that picture, because that is how they speak to us. That's how they speak to me. They send me pictures. So I hope this helps. Go play with your animals. Go in tune on your own pet psychic abilities with your own animals, and have fun. And I'll see you on the next podcast.